What is up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends very soon at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market is going, I want to mention that we've been bullish so far, making a nice push on SPY, getting very close to about 607.5, not too far from the 608 target I called out if 605 had broken. But the question is, what's going to happen from this point on? Please know that Donald Trump has made an announcement that he is going to be holding a news conference for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 1.5 hours from the time I'm recording this video. And what he's going to be announcing will be more and more tariffs. So we're going to be listening to some reciprocal tariffs he's going to be announcing on different countries. He mentioned it's going to include countries that have duties on the U.S. And in his view, this is going to be what he believes is more fair. So we'll see how it goes. Don't forget that typically sentiment is more bearish when pieces of news like this come out. And what's very interesting is that we've been getting high inflationary numbers. So if you look at what happened yesterday, we had CPI. CPI was above expectations. The market dipped temporarily only to get a nice bounce back up. For PPI, okay, the data was not good. Most of the numbers were above expectations, showing another sign that inflation is going up. Despite that, the market is pumping. And then you also have the sentiment about Trump's tariffs. Typically people are bearish during pieces of news like this, right? You have to think about that. So when everyone's bearish, you have all this bearish news, bad inflationary numbers, Trump announcing tariffs. You would think the market should dip. That's the most logical thing. That is most likely what should happen. But instead, they're giving us the short squeeze to screw over as many people as possible. This is a manipulation move, so please keep that in mind. And with that being said, that's the reason why I'm very apprehensive about Trump's announcement, because historically, if you look at the last couple of weeks, every time Donald Trump mentions tariffs, the market dumps, right? This happened multiple times on SPY. So, for example, we had like the big dump that happened not too long ago, last Friday. We also had this dump over here. This was all because of tariffs. So you would expect us to dip once this news comes out. Once Donald Trump starts announcing the tariffs, you would think that the market should dip. But then you have to also suspect that a lot of people are thinking this. Wall Street is thinking this. Retail is thinking this. So will we truly get the dump, or will they try to squeeze everyone just to trick people? That's why you want to be very careful, right? People thought we would dump after CPI came out. Instead, we dipped and rallied. People thought we would dump after a hot PPI, hot inflationary numbers come out. Instead, we're pumping. So we'll see what happens, guys. That's the best thing I could really tell you. We'll see how it ends up going. If we get a pump after Donald Trump announces the tariffs, which is very ironic, very unlikely, you would think that, but it's manipulation. So you never know with a crazy market like this. If we get that pump, you're going to be watching to see if we could hold above 608. If we break 608, we're looking for 610 as our target. Also know that every time SPY has hit 608 to 610, we have rejected historically, so it's near the all-time high. But then simultaneously, if we truly get a normal move, which should be a rug pull, if the market gets a big rug pull after Donald Trump announces the tariffs, you want to see SPY lose 605 if we fail there. I'm looking for 602 and eventually back down to the low 600s. It's very possible we get a rug pull, so we'll see just to be safe. I just want you guys to be open-minded to the possibility of manipulation during this news. I would think we're going to dip, but it all depends on what they try to pull off, because there's lots of manipulation. There's a saying that goes, good news is bad news and bad news is good news. It's all manipulation. So yes, I think that the most logical thing would be us dipping, but it depends on what they try to give us. So we'll see just to be safe, guys. I can't make any promises because of the manipulation. On the QQQ, the same thing is going on. We have like an inverse hand-shoulders structure. If we manage to break resistance around 533, we could be pushing closer to 535 and eventually to the high 530s, very close to 538. Okay, but if we turn back down, and if we end up losing our support rate over here at this 530 area, we dump to about 528 and 525 or below. So it depends on what the reaction is after Donald Trump makes these announcements. Will we be bullish or bearish? It depends. Could go either way at this point because of manipulation. You would think the most logical move is downside, that the market's going to dip. So that's always a strong possibility. But we'll see just to be safe. I want to be open-minded just to be safe and give you guys a heads up. It's up to you guys. Whatever you guys want to pick, whichever direction, however you want to play this, is up to you. On the Russell, we look a little bit more bearish. We pushed and rejected here, so we're going to be looking for and attempts to retest 223. If 223.25 fails this, we could be dipping to the lower 220s, so just be careful. There's a little bit of weakness in smaller caps. For ES, we look bullish. Notice that we have tough resistance at 61.22. We came close to that target, and then every time we get close to about 61.60, we tend to reject historically. So look for 61.22. We'll see if you reject or not off this, especially as we have this imbalance up above. If we end up losing 6100, we're looking for a dip back down towards 60.80. So to be really bearish, you want to see us lose 60.50. To be bullish, you want to see us break and hold above 61.22. Otherwise, we're just in a range for now. This does look a bit more bullish for now, but we'll see what happens once the tariffs are announced. So it could go either way. Will we get a rejection near 61.20 to start dipping back down, or do we get a big breakout? We'll be giving this some time. NQ's at 22,000. Okay, typically around 22,000 rejects. There's also another instance where it went to about 22,400 and then it got rejection. So far, we're not really there. If we end up turning back down here, we end up losing support around 21,900. We could be dipping back down to about 21,829 or below. So to be bearish, I want to see it essentially lose 21,603 flat. So if we lose that, it will turn really bearish. We could make a move back down to about 21,750 realistically if we do see a rejection here. But if we hold above 22,000 after the tariffs, then we could be looking for new highs. We could be trying to get back up above 22,100. So it all depends. Do we pump more? Do we dump? It could go either way. We'll see. We do look bullish for now, but it all depends on what Trump ends up saying. Bitcoin, we're seeing a liquidity being drawn from here, so we're looking for 95,000 as our target. Could dip a bit more. We'll see if we bounce or not. Nvidia pumped very nicely. We're going to be watching to see if 135 holds. As long as we're above 135, we do favor this gap fill, but this depends on the tariffs. If he announces tariffs on Taiwan, for example, this could turn Nvidia back down. So we'll see. To turn back down on Nvidia, you want to see it essentially lose 133. If 133 fails us, we could be dipping to like 130 and 129. And if that range fails, let's look for a bigger dump. So far, it's not doing that. We're still bullish looking, so we'll see what happens with the news. Tesla pushed very nicely to resistance around 350. We're going to be watching to see if we can hold above that or not. If we break 350 and we continue to push, we're looking for essentially 355, then 362. If we can't hold above 350, there's going to be a risk of us returning to where this resistance is near 346, and eventually back down to 340 or below is going to be coming. So watch to see if we could hold 350 on Tesla. Could go either way depending on the tariffs. For Apple, we look a bit more bullish. We have a nice triple bottom like structure. There's also like an inverse head and shoulders like pattern. Look for 240's resistance and then 246 if that breaks. If we lose 235, we're looking for a dip to 232. It could go either way, but we do look a bit more bullish here, so give this some time to develop. We'll see how the tariffs affect us. So it could go either way. If we lose 235, I will turn a little bit. I'll turn a bit more cautious with this. It's going to likely dip more. As long as we're above 240, though, we favor upside. So we'll see what Apple ends up doing. For coin, we look bullish. We'll see if we break past 290 to really start pushing. If we lose 280, we could be dumping back down, but this is still looking bullish, so it's doing a great job, at least for now. Amazon is looking bullish. If we break past 232, we're looking for 235. If we end up dumping, we're looking for a dip below 225. This is our range 225 to basically 232. Whichever way we break will determine a much larger move. Otherwise, we're in this range. We'll see if we pump to this resistance or if we dump to support. We're still stuck in the middle for now. Meta is going to be looking at support at 717. It held that so far. Now it's just consolidating. So will we break out to the 730s or do we lose 716 to start dipping? So get ready for a big move. Microsoft is just consolidating right now. We'll have to see if we break 411 to pump or if we dump. Give it some time. And then Google, it's kind of stuck right here. We'll be watching 183 to see if we bounce or not. So give it some time as well. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. So please have a good rest of your day. As far as the market is going, we pumped very, very, very nicely. We're still favoring bulls a bit more. But like I said before, even though we're favoring bulls, we'll see what happens with Trump's announcements. Will this pump the market more or dump it? Logically, it should cause a dip. That's the most logical case. This should cause a pullback in the markets, but that's not always guaranteed when you have these market makers who are manipulating the way these stocks are moving. So just like what I said, bad news could be good news and good news could be bad news. The market could be very manipulated, so just be prepared for that, just to be safe, and just be very careful out there. So we'll be patient with this one. He's going to be speaking in 1.5 hours, so get ready. Do what you have to do, guys, and we'll hear what Trump has to say at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a good one, and peace out.